Well, Jen Psaki said that the phone call lasted about 30 minutes and that it was friendly and that there was basically an acknowledgement from Joe Biden that there could have been more consultations before the announcement of that AUKUS deal. But she was asked specifically about two things. One, she was asked whether Joe Biden actually apologized to Emmanuel Macron. She, of course, did not answer that question directly, simply saying that the acknowledgement was that there could have been more talks, more discussions among the two allies, and that going forward, that will actually happen. And then there was a question about a little bit of a variation in the wording of the French statement and the U.S. statement. Now, the two statements are almost exactly the same, but there's one line that stood out where basically the U.S. says that the situation could have benefited from a consultation among allies, whereas the French statement says that consultations among allies could have avoided the situation. So a little bit more categoric from the French, but then again, Jen Psaki not wanting to answer why there was that difference in wording between the two statements, simply saying that we are working closely. One thing that the French may not like about what Jen Psaki had to say is that she said multiple times that the president was now hopeful to get back to normal, return things to normal with their French counterparts. And probably the French are thinking, well, that was exactly the point of the past week, is that we don't like this U.S. normal. We want more cooperation, more talks, more discussions, more involvement with our ally, and not going back to normal. But of course, these two countries are allies. The ambassador is coming back next week to Washington. And as we heard in that soundbite, Jen Psaki confirming that Joe Biden and Emmanuel Macron will be meeting in Europe in October, but no specificity on the exact location, the exact date. She said that they're still working out those details.
Indeed, Katavan, there's the much vaunted special relationship between France and the US. I can think of the recent sending of the replica of the Statue of Liberty to echo the original sending of the Statue of Liberty, the ultimate gift from France to the US, of course, which sort of underlines this special relationship that's supposed to exist. And of course, I say supposed to exist because of this actual AUKUS deal, because it really has been, and to use Jean-Yves Le Drian's words, a stab in the back for France. Do you think what we've seen today with this phone call, what we've heard and what we've been told by the White House press secretary, is going to start to heal these open wounds caused by the AUKUS affair?
I think that this is going to really dampen those tensions and get the two countries back within relative discussions and normal talks, as the word used by Jen Psaki. So this is not going to be an ongoing feud, if you will, like we've seen in the past week with those very, very strong words from French Foreign Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian comparing Joe Biden's actions to that of his predecessor, Donald Trump. But there is a sense from the French side that something needs to change, that they are not happy with the way things are going, and that they want more consultation. And that was sort of seen in those in that joint statement. You saw talks of intense consultations, that the French ambassador will be returning and will have a very high-level talk with senior administration officials. So the Americans are trying to show the French that they understood the outrage, that they acknowledged that there was a lack of communication, and that they're willing to actually work on that to see if they can really mend that relationship and go forward. That was what Jen Psaki said. The hope of the president is to go forward. I think there is also a question that Jen Psaki did not answer, which was who bears responsibility for what happened? Did the Americans do this voluntarily, knowing that the French would be outraged? Did they miss the outrage? Did they not see it coming? And if that's the case, how did the State Department, that team working on Europe, working on France, with the Secretary of State, Tony Blinken, who's a Francophile, a Francophone, who is very close to the Europeans, how did they not see this coming from the French and from the Europeans? And she did hint to the fact that there were going to be some lessons learned from this whole week.